I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello, welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. It is a Monday. Virginia's not with us today. She is in Buffalo. She's coming back today. She'll be back tomorrow.
I can hear it now. Okay. My plane didn't get in till 12 o'clock midnight. I'm so
She probably
tired.
will on top of it, yeah.
Mama's so tired.
Yeah, she does that a lot. She will fly in and get 2 hours of sleep and then come in here, but I don't know if she is today because who knows? I'm not sure what else she's got going on there. She talked about there being a family trip, and we saw her social media. They're doing a Italian fest there, a little feast, a little Italy.
She's been very cryptic.
That was part of it, yes.
We're going to get some answers tomorrow. Don't worry.
We will. Yeah, we'll try to figure it out. I'll give you some theories on it, Bird, coming up here in a bit. Just you and me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Got a lot of stuff from over the weekend, though. Man, my gosh, as I was just kind of chilling this weekend, just resting, taking it all in. There was a lot to take in this weekend. Oh, my goodness, man. It was just crazy. You know, the whole weekend was nuts. From, Friday here in Palm Beach, you had Benjamin Netanyahu in. I mean, that's a big thing. The Israeli prime minister was at Mar-a-Lago, and you had traffic going to Southern. Boy, I'd heard about that. And then Trump spoke. They had a big convention that was at the Palm Beach County Convention Center, and I saw all the news agencies were covering that. So you had snarls with traffic downtown West Palm Beach. That just kicked off the weekend. Then the Olympics got going. That was happening this weekend. I mean, good heavens, man. Then
Big time stuff.
Deadpool Wolverine that opened up. Arguably, that might be the biggest blockbuster movie this summer. It'll be interesting to see how that the numbers compare to Inside Out, too, because I know that was big as well.
Well, we kind of hit the ground running on a Monday, too. National Lasagna Day, National Chicken Wing Day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's just so much stuff going on today. So it's a very busy Monday. So it was a lot of fun getting through all of it. And we got people here that have their own thoughts on a lot of stuff. Let's get right to it. Jennifer said, Kev, your take on this. I saw it on a Facebook group. Olympics takes down opening ceremony videos starring drag queens mocking Christianity. Now, I knew that when I got up, I think it was Saturday, and I started looking at that. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be the hot, controversial topic going on here. And, look, the first thing that happens now is people get so angry, and they react first. And, I would encourage a lot of people, when you see something, give it a little bit of time. Let's see how the dust settles with something and try to get the full story, because the things that come out on social media, that's how they report. They get clicks, likes, and shares by getting people upset and getting them angry.
Rage bait.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was the first thing. So when I first saw that, I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. Let me just keep watching this to see exactly what happens with it. Now, as the dust has settled and I was able to get a little bit more perspective on it, I will tell you, I am still slightly confused by this, because at first, everything in the narrative is that France and Paris in the Olympics, they went and they mocked Christianity by doing the Last Supper with drag queens. And people were showing a photo of Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, which, by the way, is a painting. And it was something that, in the Christian faith is something that Jesus, it was the Last Supper he had with his disciples before he was crucified. And
Judas is in that picture?
I think so. I am not an expert on that. I remember probably about 5 to 10 years ago, I did a breakdown on it. It's really fascinating. That was when they had, do you remember the book that they had out? Tom Hanks was in the movies.
Da Vinci Code?
Yes. And I had done a breakdown when that movie had first come out and was well versed on the painting then, because it was just fascinating what people were saying, that the cryptic meanings in that painting, and that's a whole different topic. So I did see that. I was like, well, that would be interesting that they would choose to do something that would be so mocking. Then I saw people saying, what this is and what makes sense is this is Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and revelry. And this is something that is Greek, which ties into the Olympics, and it seems to make sense. And I'm like, okay, it was something that makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings, and they had a good explanation for that. So I was like, okay, it's kind of explained away for me with that and what they were doing. Because, yes, it would be odd to come out and do something that you would think would directly want to mock Christianity being one of the three big religions. Look, I would be just as surprised if they, had somebody as the Prophet Muhammad and tried to do something like that. I mean, you want to talk about that would have been mass chaos. So it's just not a good move. The Olympics brings people together. Shouldn't be tearing people apart.
People are saying Judas is in the picture as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that seemed to make sense. But where I am slightly confused today is by the one thing where they're taking down the opening ceremony, because that makes it feel like, oh my gosh, yeah, that should not be up there. That was bad. And then the fact that they apologized. They issued an apology.
I heard they lost sponsors. Is that true?
They did. One was a sponsor. The sixth largest telecom company in the world was advertising. They're out of Deep South. It's either Alabama or Mississippi, one of the two. And you would imagine that, hey, they're it's Bible Belt, all that kind of stuff.
Deep South Alabama.
Yeah, they don't take too kindly to that kind of stuff. And of course, they reacted quickly and were enraged soon. But yeah, on Sunday, just yesterday, a spokesperson for the 2024 Olympics said, if people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really, really sorry. So I don't know. That's where I don't understand. To me, I would say, hey, look, clarify the position to say if it is, about Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and revelry, and that's what we were trying to do. Explain the situation. Don't just issue an apology. And because now I'm like, okay, are you saying that, yes, we did mock the Last Supper, and we're sorry that if you were upset by that? So I'm slightly confused. I'm
confused about it so much.
I'm confused on what that is. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to explain more or just we're going to just move on.
But either way, people are mad, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, people were, very upset. And look, hey, I mean, if you mock somebody's religion, I understand. No matter what the religion is, I get it. If you would have mocked another religion, it's not even mine. I'd be like, all right, what are we doing here? Let's not be mocking religions. It's about bringing people together.
Yeah, I mean, GWB in the chat room says religion is touchy, and it is. I mean, some people don't believe in it at all. Some people...
If you don't believe it, it's touchy. And if you're trying to bring people together and celebrate this, and it's about inclusion, I think you could do that without mocking a religion. So, yeah, that would be an odd play that I would recommend the Olympics not go in and try to isolate or mock anybody. It's not a good way to go.
I remember a few people were mad at me back at station number 1. I had just asked you a question one time. It goes, what if Jesus didn't have a beard? And I was legitimately asking the question because you know about that stuff. I was just saying, do we know that for a fact? And even me just asking that question, people got mad.
Yeah, there are people that are really sensitive about it. I mean, there are verses in the Bible about mocking God and things like that. And that's what you saw a lot on social media was them throwing out that verse. And so, yeah, some people take it extremely serious. And me, I'm more about look at the tone of it. And you asking that question, I'm like, you had a valid question. I
really did.
Yeah, you should be answering. But like I said, some people are so sensitive about it. And of all faiths, it's not just Christian, of all faiths.
Oh, for sure.
Very sensitive about mocking the religion. That's why it would be an odd flex to come in and try to mock any religion.
And then there's people who really do not care kindly for religion at all.
Absolutely.
And they feel like they're justified into being able to be allowed to mock religion. They think that's their right.
Well, they have a right to do that. But I would just tell you, if the whole point of the Olympic Games is to bring the world together in unity.
Yes.
So that's their mission statement of the Olympics. So to break the mission statement of the Olympics with your opening ceremony to rip people apart, and then you're not living up to the spirit of what the Olympics are supposed to be. So no matter what your take is on religion, that would be, I think, a bad play.
That was pretty early on in the ceremony.
It was. I think it was less than 2 minutes, and I didn't watch the opening ceremony, so I don't know when you link it all together where it happened. So I did not partake in that. I was out doing other things on Friday, and I said, well, I'll catch up with the news on it. So Saturday, I'm like going, hey, let's see how the Olympics went last night. Whoa. Like, oh my gosh. What did I miss here? Jennifer, she has a question. She said, why do American athletes never sing along with the national anthem when they win the gold medal or any medal? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's particular athletes or whatever. Maybe they just, that's how they do it. They just stand to respect. Maybe they know they're not a good singer. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
I always knew that people got offended if you didn't take off your hat if you kept your hat on during the national anthem,
Right.
I always do that. But I never knew people got so offended if you didn't sing. And the reason why is because some people have a fear of singing in public. So I didn't know that was looked down upon so much. That's more of a, if you don't sing, you don't love the country. That's a new narrative I've not seen. I didn't used to see that, and I see it now.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you have your hand in your heart, and
I don't get that feeling at all.
If you're not singing, I don't think that's disrespectful.
No, I love this country. I love the anthem. I don't know if I had won a medal, if I would stand in respect and look at that and drink it all in, or if I would be mouthing the lyrics to the anthem or not. I don't know, but I wouldn't want somebody to think that I'm less of an American or that I love this country any less because I didn't.
Yeah, some people don't sing because they are. It really is a thing where people get nervous of singing in public. That's a real thing.
Yeah, or maybe they're not sure on some of the lyrics.
That's the other thing too. I think that's why they're nervous.
I don't want to miss a word, and then somebody would. They would take the time to match it up, be like, oh, clearly this Olympic athlete doesn't know the anthem.
Look at this unpatriotic dick.
Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't peg anything crazy for me. So. Let me see some of the other stuff that we got going on here. Of course, you've got the political stuff, and it's rough. Look, a lot of us are going to have to deal with this, and this is more a question about dealing with somebody that is very entrenched in their political beliefs, and it's causing a problem. They said as the election season approaches, tensions between my parents and me have grown. I'm a single woman in my 40s. My parents are in their 80s. In the last few years, they've become less compassionate and intolerant of differing views. I have zero tolerance for racism and bigotry, which causes a disconnect between myself and them. When we discuss politics, they dismiss my research facts and they get angry and they start to shake. So to avoid triggering a heart attack for them, I suggested we just stop talking about politics, but they can't. They watch news outlets daily and they become very intolerant of many groups. They are openly disgusted by gay people, and my sons, 18 and 21, are gay, and they won't even tell their grandparents that they are because of the demeaning rhetoric. And it's so sad because before 2020, they were both very close. They were all very close. So I'm close to cutting ties with my parents completely. I used to visit weekly. Now it's maybe once a month, and I make excuses to not be around on holidays. I've even stopped going out to eat with them in public. I'm their only child, and they have no friends. And if I leave, they'll be alone and will likely die alone in a facility. I'm moving out of Florida next year because I can't afford to live here, and they want to come with me. Should I keep a relationship with them and move them in, or disconnect, leave them alone, or move on? Part of me wants to move and change my phone number with no forwarding address, but I feel a small part of me would feel guilty. How would you handle this?
When it comes to family members, especially people that are, immediate family, like your mom and dad, I just know that they're not going to change. They're in their 80s. They're going to have their ways, and I'll do my best to never bring up politics. And if they can't stop talking about politics, I'll try to change the subject the best way I can. I wouldn't cut them out of my life, but I would definitely watch the moments you keep yourself into.
Yeah,
they're wrong. So
yeah, it's tough. Look, I am one of those people. Maybe I'm a rare breed where somebody can come at me with anger and all that stuff about politics. I don't engage. I don't fire back anything. I just sit and I listen to what they say, and I just, I nod my head. I'm like,
you're good at taking in anger from all, like not just politics. You're good at absorbing anger and not reacting to it.
Yeah,
which is good.
Doesn't affect me.
It's a good thing to have. You want to be that way.
So, that would be what I recommend, and I would practice because it's not easy, and say, look, you're not going to convince them, why? Look, I'm not going to have a shouting match with anybody about anything.
No.
I was talking about the dinner that my wife and I had with another couple on Saturday. We talked about politics, and it was fantastic. I love politics, and I love talking politics, but I'm not going to talk it with somebody that's going to get all upset, and they're entrenched in their beliefs, and you can't have any kind of, thought-provoking debate about it.
Yeah, I don't mind talking politics at all, as long as, again, it stays cordial and fun, and it keeps me engaged. I don't like mentality of just this is the way and this is the only way and fuck you. And I don't like that. I know people who, red or blue, in my life, and we barely talk about stuff because I don't give a fuck what they're doing.
Yeah,
to be quite honest with you,
I would encourage everybody. Look, it's not a fun approach, man. If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. But nobody enjoys heated political yelling matches that happen between people. There's nothing fun about that.
I want to talk about some movies and some music.
Right.
And let's talk about some snacks. Let's have some laughs, baby.
If I sense from somebody that they can't have a sensible, calm discussion about politics, I have no desire to do it. We're not going to talk politics.
And I just have learned that sometimes you're just not going to be able to change some people.
No, I'm not looking to change anyone, actually.
You're just not. And I think the more I've accepted that.
I'm looking to shape my own viewpoint by getting your perspective, because that's what it does for me. I'm like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's interesting. Thank you. I will tell you, because, my mom especially, and I've talked about this, that she's, right-wing conservative Christian. And, before she passed, it was the COVID era, and that's what she died of. And it had become tough because she was into a lot of the conspiracy theories and whatnot. And I hate to say it, that it was tough, but I would do that with her. I would just nod. But her conspiracy theories were, so insane that it did. I found myself, she didn't have a lot more to talk about other than that.
Yeah, no, I remember you struggling with that.
It was tough.
That's got to be tough. We see your mom go down a road of trying to. You want to throw her a lifeline and say, "Mom, I understand you care about this stuff, but let's not take it so seriously."
And we'd have long conversations. Always did. An hour and a half. Every time we talked, but. An hour and 20 minutes of it was on this stuff, and that's what became tough. I would just be like, okay, and
it bummed me out too, seeing kind of Aunt Ann go down that way a little bit. She, I'd go over and visit with Aunt Ann, and she just would get so riled up.
I know.
And I'd go, Ann, how about this? What if you get a bottle of wine? What if you smoked a Wonder joint, chilled out?
I know.
You're
tough.
You're in your 70s. I want you to enjoy this time.
I'll tell you, and it is tough because a lot of the media and the social media and who you follow and things like that, they lead with the emotion and the anger, and it's all one-sided, and they demean the other side, and they call them names, and all that kind of stuff happens, and it's sad because that's what kind of gets people so entrenched and so upset. So, if you can't identify that and can't see what they're trying to do to you, then that's why people fight the way they do about every subject. And it's unfortunate.
But the thing I've noticed, which being in broadcasting for 20 years now, I had never in my life seen just regular topics turn into a political fucking fight or an agenda of sorts. You can take anything these days. And you almost can see it happening now. If there's a big story going out in the news, it's really not anything political. You could almost start hearing phrases going, oh, this is going to turn into a political issue. And it's not. And it's really not even a political issue.
No, it's not. It's crazy. It's a wild world, man. So, and I know we get tagged with that. And people are always coming after me about my, political agendas and all that kind of stuff.
You barely talk politics.
No, and I've told people.
You have to talk a little bit. We can't act like there's not an election coming up. We're not doing our job. Now, we don't have to go into the nuances of everything, but to act like nothing's there is not a good thing either.
And I personally, I don't believe that it's right to take topics off of the board that you can't talk about. I said, look, you got to be adults and you got to be able to have conversations about anything. To me, I think it's very limiting if you say we can't talk about this. It's like, well, it's kind of silly. I mean, if it's out there and it's something that's big, then you should be able to find a way to talk about it.
I think it just fires people up, and I think people look at us. They like goofy KVJ, but we can't always be goofy,
right? Yeah, I mean, look, what we are is we're goofy, but we deal with the hottest topics going on. We try to be very topical in our conversation, and so when this kind of stuff's going on, you got to do what you got to do. So. Do like this. Got this from Jen Joy in Tamarack. She said, I just started Palm Royale, and I'm about to start episode 3, and I love it. The ensemble cast is amazing. The storyline is entertaining. It's funny as heck, and I'm hooked. Thanks for the recommendation.
Nice.
She's hooked faster than I was. I'll admit, I was in it because I liked the Palm Beach references, and it was fascinating to see. I thought they really nailed Palm Beach society as my perspective is. Now, I'm not an insider, but I'm fascinated by it. And since I've been here for 25 years, what little tidbits I could get, the breadcrumbs from just hearing stories or talking to somebody that was in it, I'm like, it's very fascinating.
I liked the topic we had the other day. Was it on Friday? Just the big stories that have gone on down here in South Florida with just we've had a lot of weird shit go down, and it's weird to always see your area in the national news.
Right? Yeah.
Kind of like you were saying when you see a landmark in something, you go, I know that, I recognize that. It's cool, but it's also bizarre a little bit.
It is, yeah. And so it's really fascinating to learn stuff, and just even stuff I've heard. My daughter just got back yesterday. She was over there. She does. She's a nanny for a family, and it's kind of interesting. So she had been over in Europe for the last month, And just the latest little thing that I got, and I've noticed this, and it became evident. Like I just saw Venus Williams is in some town in Italy with, I guess, her boyfriend. And I started thinking of all these celebrity sightings that I've had. And my daughter is telling me that, in a sense, what happens for the people that are your ultra celebrities or your really wealthy people, there are 2 different seasons. And during the summer, it's Mediterranean season. And so you'll notice that a lot of the celebrities and wealthy people, they hang out in the Mediterranean Sea. So you see a lot of south of France and Italy. And the Cannes Film Festival and all that kind of stuff is tied in. So that is where the social elites go. And then you have the Caribbean season, where then everybody kind of goes and they hang out in some of these islands in the Caribbean.
Did she have fun?
She had a great time.
Did she talk about the food at all?
Yeah, she did. She tried the food a lot. She seemed to love it. It's very fresh.
Did she try any Italy pizza?
She did have the Italy pizza.
I'd like to hear her thoughts on that.
She liked it. She showed it, and it was really kind of lacking of cheese and things like that. I'm not sure if you'd be a fan.
She might be in the chat room.
She was in the chat room.
Caitlin, if you were in the chat room, let me know how the pizza in Italy was.
Yeah. I'll have to hit her up. So, yeah, she's back and she's plugged into the chat and all that.
From what I understand is Italy's got 2 kinds of pizza. They almost got the American version style, and then they've got their own version. And people tell me I would not like the Italy version of it. They say that Bird, it's not your cup of soda, baby.
I don't know that you would, because she had videos where she showed they were out and they got the Italy pizza. And I was like, I don't know if Bird would like
That's
that.
so fun, though, gosh. Just the idea of going to Italy, just to pig the fuck out.
Yeah.
That would be such a fun trip for me.
Yeah, she said they do a good bit of pasta.
I bet.
There, yeah. So I think that you would probably like that.
I think I'm gonna go get some lasagna today because you got me all ginned up because of lasagna, National Lasagna Day.
It is, yeah.
It is a heavy meal though to eat in the daytime.
It is.
I kind of feel like there's not going to be much movement.
Yeah, that's why I can't. The carb thing always. I want to take a nap.
To me, carbs is the best in the evening when you know you're not going anywhere and you can just lay.
So you just go into a coma.
I think carbs in the daytime's a dangerous game. It's a young man's game, first of all.
It is.
When I had that teenage hunger, I would eat. I was talking to Denny's about how back when I was a teenager, I'd eat 5 microwavable cheeseburgers and just still have so much energy. First of all, the idea of eating a microwavable cheeseburger kind of grosses me out now.
It is kind of gnarly.
And how do you eat 5 cheeseburgers and not fucking puke and still go to baseball practice? If I did that now, I'd be dead.
Yeah. Caitlin said that the pizza was amazing. I don't think she thinks, and I said, would Jbird like it? She said, no. She said, thick crust. I don't know what that means. She said the pasta was unreal.
Oh, gosh, man. I am in the mood for some pasta.
Yeah. So I think you would love it. And everybody I've heard, I mean, I just see the photos and all that from in that region. It's gorgeous. It really is unbelievable. And, anybody who's been over there, they just said it looks amazing. So one day I'll get there.
It's cool. That's what was so intoxicating about Oregon. Mm-hmm. Growing up in Florida my entire life, going to a place that looks nothing like Florida, it's almost a drug-like. It has a drug-like effect on me.
Yeah,
my senses. I get.
It's
I don't
crazy.
know,
Yeah,
woozy almost.
Now that I'm so ingrained in Florida, anytime I go anywhere and there are hills and different trees,
it's cool.
It is. It is cool and it's odd. You're right. You feel
it's odd.
It feels weird.
It does.
Yeah, because I don't leave Florida that often.
I got
anymore.
that with Logan. Logan's got its own little vibe.
Completely.
Going.
Yeah, we just want to go home. I'm like, whoa, this feels weird now.
Logan's got your hometown has got some horrific turns on roads. I don't know how people don't die all the time on those roads.
They do. They die all the time. I've had many friends that have driven off those roads.
Yeah, I could see that. Why the fuck would they do that?
Well, you have no choice. It's hills. You got to have roads. I mean, sometimes they do tunnels and go through them, but that's very expensive.
I just feel like they're so twisty and turny.
Oh, they're terrible.
They want a murder quota or a death quota.
There is a death quota, and you should see when those roads are icy.
Yeah, we went in the summertime.
That's horrific. I've been on one, and your car is just sliding towards the edge of...
Horrifying.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, I'm dead.
There's nothing worse than a long hydroplane of any sorts. And when I got in that 7-car pileup on I-95... The hydroplane must have lasted into the car that I knocked into for about 7 seconds. So you have 7 seconds.
Seems like it's going on forever.
Oh, fuck.
You're
I'm
in slow
going
motion,
to die. It's over. It's a long time to think.
Uh-huh. Van with a show recommendation said, I can't believe, especially Jbird, that you're not into Stranger Things.
I know people have been giving me shit about it.
Yeah, I mean, with all the 80s references and everything going on there. But even, too, just kind of being, a little out there like it is. Van says, I was late to the game, didn't start watching until right before the fourth season came out last year. And I've since rewatched it several times. I got to give props to the amazing cast, the original story.
Yeah, people love, man. People love it.
I watched the first season, and I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
and
people are in the chat room saying, Bird, you got to watch it. You're going to love Stranger Things.
I think I will. I want to see how it ends, and then if people are like it ends great, then I think one day I'm going to go probably rewatch the first season to get all caught up and fly right through it.
Do you think people are burned on 1980s memorabilia kind of stuff? The nostalgia of the 80s, and do you think we've graduated more into the 90s now, or do you think people still just love? I feel like people love the 80s a lot, to where they keep going back and just always redoing something 80s style.
I think the one thing that the 80s has is that it was bright, colorful, it was fun.
It was
Nobody
fun.
took themselves too seriously. The 90s, you remember grunge started to get a little grittier and a bit more sad. And so I think that's why the 80s is fun, because the hair was so insane. The music styles were fascinating, and you still hear that in a lot of music with the synthesized stuff. And have you heard Chappell Roan? Do you know who she is?
That's so weird you say that, because I was hanging out with somebody over the weekend who would not stop talking about Chappell Roan.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
what did they say?
They love Chappell Roan.
Yeah, people love this girl. Interesting girl. I think she's from Missouri. She wears face paint, and it's a very theatrical part of it. And I think I read that her inspiration is Kate Bush. If you know Kate Bush,
Yes.
she came back because of Stranger Things, that Running Up the Hill. And so she sounds, if you know Kate Bush, and I like Kate Bush in the 80s. I love Run Up the Hill when that song first came out. She sounds just like Kate Bush. And so it's got that 80s sound. And it's a really good song.
Well,
She's got several, actually.
The thing about the whole Kate Bush thing, that just shows you that the music industry does not always know what the fuck they're talking about. That was a song that no one knew or heard of it.
I think we'll get it soon. In fact, I'm fascinated that we haven't yet got the Chappell Roan. And now it is alternative. So it's a little odd. And, like Kate Bush was alternative. But you can see when the Kate Bush Run Up That Hill hit the top 10, was it a year or two ago?
Yeah.
That that kind of stuff could work. And I think the Chappell Roan is getting to a point where hopefully we'll get it at RMF pretty soon.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is back in the day, Kate Bush didn't have a top 10 song with that hit.
Right. I think it peaked at 45 on the Billboard Hot 100, and then it came back because of Stranger Things is a top 10.
Look, sometimes things just get lost in the sauce.
It does, yeah. A lot of alternative stuff does.
There's greatness out there that did not get the proper shine just because, for whatever reason, it got lost in the noise. There's a lot of that out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, she's got a couple hits, and I know that I am late to the game, but Good Luck Babe is the one song that is out, and then she's got Pink Pony Club, which is
okay.
The one I just first mentioned, the Good Luck Babe, is the one that you hear a lot of.
I'm obsessed with. I can't stop listening to that fucking Sabrina Carpenter song. Please, please, please.
She's great too.
It is such a jam to me.
Yeah, she's solid.
It's odd sometimes songs just. You can't even explain why you like a song so much, but it's quite melodic. I like Sabrina Carpenter, man.
She's fantastic. Yeah, I love new artists.
Typically wouldn't like that. I like 3 of her songs.
Yeah, sounds really good. They're great pop songs, no doubt about it. Alyssa said, you all talk about celebrities with lots of babies, but you should watch The Guy with Over 1,000 Babies on Netflix. Really interesting documentary on this guy who wants to continue being a sperm donor and what issues the kids and moms have to deal with. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know why that doesn't interest me.
I know, isn't that weird? There's some things that should be good, and you go, I'm not feeling it.
No.
I love murder. I love murder stuff.
Right.
But as soon as I find out it's a couple or a domestic thing, or that they're trying to hire someone to kill their mate, doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I don't like that kind of. It doesn't scare me. I like the boogeyman kind of stuff, where someone breaks into that. That's the most horrifying, creepy kind of murder. Is the madman who just plucks somebody out of their house. That's scary shit.
You might like the Real CSI Miami.
I would. I definitely would.
I kind of went into that, and look, the way shows are set up now. I just did a voice search for it on the Xfinity thing, and it came up. They have one I started to get into. I only got about 5 minutes in. Just had too much stuff going on. But there was a story from Loxahatchee. There was a Miami Hurricanes player that they feature. And I think the one they just had from Ballin Isle, I think that was only episode 4 or 5. I think there's 5 episodes total out there.
They always wrap it up to what happened. They usually, because they don't just do cold cases, right? It's something that they wrap up with the bow.
Ballin Isle wrapped it up. It was nice and neat. And it was like, whoa, man, I was pretty crazy because I didn't fully remember the story from when it had happened.
Man, 2 stories I wish we could just tie up and figure out what happened and bring the murderers to justice is obviously the Rachel Hurley case I always bring up. And then Christy Luna, she was a little girl that was kidnapped in Green Acres. And we're
I've heard
talking
you say that name,
1984-ish, I want to say. And I still will hear her mom go on radio shows, just constantly still
You would.
asking.
I would.
And what sucks about that is when they looked into it, there was probably 4 sex offenders that lived in that area.
Wow.
It's just sad, but you want to know what happened, and you want someone to be brought to justice. And I think the reason why those cases stayed with me was because she was roughly around my age when she was kidnapped. Rachel Hurley was murdered right around the same age that I was.
Sure.
And that stuff stays.
I think that's the tendency of humanity. Is you put yourself in those. Wow, what if that was me?
But man, I would fucking love to bring those son of a bitches down who did it. Gosh, I want it so bad.
I think a lot of people want to see that. And Ryan, the female Ryan, she said, David Allen Gore was an auxiliary cop who used to pick up women all over the Treasure Coast with his partner, Freddie Waterfield.
I know that. I know that story.
She said, I think it was Gore's partner's last name. That's a huge case with many murders. Look into that one. It's very interesting. When I was in high school, we would go to the old property off 5th Street, Southwest in Vero, and I was in high school and in the early 90s, and there was still police tape laying all over the place, along with those big 55-gallon drums, which were what he would eventually put the girls' bodies in. He was in prison by the early 1990s when I was in high school, and going out to his old grounds as a drunk high school kid was scary as hell. Shit, it would still be terrifying as an adult. Plus, we had so many cold case murders from the late 1980s. The late 90s became, because of all the drug trafficking. The movie Blow with Johnny Depp, we still have families in Vero and Fort Pierce that worked with the character Jorge Young that Johnny Depp played. They
love that movie.
Which one, Blow?
Blow, yeah.
Said they used to borrow planes from the small St. Lucie County Airport and use canals out west as drop points for the bales of weed. Some of the younger guys who ran drugs are still alive, and I know a few that are in their 70s now, but the families still live in the area. And the dirty sheriff, plus all the dirty deputies under the sheriff. I sat with boxes of pictures from someone I know who is now in his 70s. I could have spent days in those pictures, and I did in all the old newspapers that are now on microfilm in the library. I could go on forever telling you details. The East Coast really was the Wild Wild West back then.
Yeah. There's even the Deviltree murderer. He was a police officer, and that guy, Schaefer. Schaefer.
Yeah.
Sorry. They think he killed a lot more people than what they got him for.
Yeah, all these guys have.
And it's weird, too, because they're all horrible, terrible monsters, but there's just some stories and some of their MO that's just that much more horrifying. They're not only horrifying, but they go to the next level of just shit that you can't even fucking believe.
It's just crazy, yeah. And you hope in the future that we're getting better. I know because my wife is into early childhood development.
Yeah.
That they do some of these psychological evals on these kids, and they do start to get a little bit earlier. I think there were like 3 things. I remember talking about this here on the podcast before that they see. There's like a lack of empathy. The kids are not getting love, and there's a third factor.
I'm not saying if your kid's killing animals and doing that I'm not saying that kid's gonna be a serial killer, but you need to watch that motherfucking kid.
They're all things, and it starts to put together a profile that they say, hey, this is a kid that you need to flag the kid to say they match right now all the criteria for what we're seeing. And hopefully if we could do that, not that you point it out to the kid or anything like that, but you work with the parents, you let law enforcement know, you talk to them to say, hey, this is a kid that is, he's prone.
Yes, and the one thing I've seen a lot too is some of these serial killers, they've got an anger towards women. Somewhere in their life, they in their mind, they feel like that they were just turned down or they were treated unfairly. It could be with their mother.
Yeah.
A lot of times it does stem from a mother type of a relationship, and they carry this anger. And then on top of that, maybe they don't know, they have zero game. They don't know how to approach a woman, so they get this other anger. And you've got this monster
From the rejection.
Yeah, from the rejection. You have this fucking monster cooking.
Yeah.
And then the beast gets it gets released.
Unleash
man.
the beast.
Unleash the beast.
Hopefully getting better. She also said, been listening since the old Kevin Cross of Virginia days, 25 years ago. I even have a Dominican friend. She was friends with the Mexican Queen when she met Kevin. And Kevin, you were a wild boy back then.
You were.
I was, yeah. I was very wild back
You
then.
were. You wild fuck.
Yeah, I was. I was a crazy kid, man. I don't know how I lived through those years.
I sometimes wonder how I'm still standing.
Yeah, no, I don't know either.
There's times I look back and I get so mad at myself of certain things. I go, what, you dumb fuck? What were you even thinking?
Yeah.
Not you, I'm saying me.
I know.
Things that
I hear you. Same.
The 20s was, 20s in my opinion is just if you're drinking and you're partying, your 20s is fucked.
If I did one of those weekends now, it would kill me. That's why I look at Virginia. I'm like, I don't know how, because she still goes like we used to go. I'm like, how are you not dead? I don't get this.
I still get after it, but I can't do them 4 o'clock in the morning, stay out. My body cannot fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
Plus, I actually don't think it's fun. On top of
No,
it.
there's nothing that interests me about doing any of that stuff
You're
anymore.
right. Nothing.
Yeah.
What do you say? Nothing happens after midnight? I'm going to go and say nothing really happens good after 10 p.
And it took many nights where there's just, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not enjoying myself. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drunk drama nights is not fun.
Deani's asking about the Kevin Cross thing. Yeah, the real quick on that was I was never allowed to name myself. I always wanted to use my real last name. And so the program directors I had one guy and he wouldn't let me go by Kevin Ralston. I had to go by Kevin Cross. And that was the name they gave me. And I went to one radio station after another and they kept just, hey, it's Kevin Cross is here. I'm like, no, because it comes out in industry news and all that stuff. I'm like, no, can I just be me? They're like, no. And when I came here, they almost didn't let me use the name Kevin because there was a big radio host who had the name Kevin Kitchens, and they thought people, you're going to be mocking him. I'm like, I'm not mocking. It was my fucking name. I'm like, can I just be me? Yeah, so I almost didn't get to be Kevin.
I remember when I first got on this show, I was trying to be King Perta. You're like, nah, you're going to be. You're going to be Jason.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of I've never been a fan of goofy radio names.
And the reason why you liked Jbird was because we had audio of my mom telling a story about how they would call me Jbird, and you loved that.
I thought that was great. That was endearing. That had character to it. I like that.
In fact, it sounds weird when people call me Jason.
Yeah, I agree.
I respond to Bird or Jbird. Jason just sounds. I don't even like Jason.
It's too formal.
It's too formal.
Jaybird's
man.
right. You are a Jaybird.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Mr. J, so did Kevin internalize Cross as his alter ego? No, I didn't have any split personality kind of stuff and all that. It was just a name that I had to have, and I used it as little as possible. And then finally I got a hold of it. I can't remember how I got control and slid the Ralston in there.
Yeah, I don't think you were Kevin Cross when I first got on there. You had just you were phasing it out. I remember a lot of the passwords for me to get into for editing.
Yeah.
It was your Kevin Cross was your password.
They had done the same thing. They jumped on it and put out the press release that Kevin Cross of Virginia are joining, and then I quickly told the audience, I'm like, yeah, that's not my real name.
This is stupid.
This is dumb. My name's not Cross. It's stupid.
And people can figure out that there's been two Kevins in the market.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
People aren't dumb.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. I'm like, if you think I'm trying to mock this guy or take his shine, I'll show you my driver's license. All right, and Deadpool, man, interesting to see just how big that movie was. I've heard good things about it. They're doing a baby Deadpool popcorn collectible. That's what it looks like. So, yeah, monstrous movie.
People have been saying all morning long, it's an awesome movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You knew it's going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought it...
That's funny. I asked you if it would kind of annoy you or bother you if Star Wars started swearing a little bit. And I have noticed they do throw in words like ass these days in Star Wars.
Right.
Hell. Things that more...
Well, they're borderline. That's
they're borderline.
They're edgy words.
They're edgy words. So they say ass out in space.
To me, it just that feels like character betrayal. It's not that I'm any kind of You know, because I love Deadpool, but that fits Deadpool. To me, edgy language doesn't fit Star Wars.
Well, then all of a sudden, are you going to do that for Star Trek as well? Spock's going to start saying, "Oh, hey, look at Captain Kirk's ass." It doesn't fit. Those kind of Star Wars or a Star Trek wouldn't fit. I don't think.
When they do, what is it? The Galaxy of the what is
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of yeah, that edgy language there. I'm fine with that. That fits.
Do they swear in that?
I don't know if they do, but if you did, that wouldn't bother me. That would make sense because that's got that feel.
Does he look at one of the creatures and go, "All right, you fuckface"? Nothing like that.
No, I don't think it's been anything to that level, but I wouldn't mind that. That seems like, okay, this fits with what they're doing.
But you wouldn't want Han Solo to go, "Shut the fuck up, Chewie."
Yeah, that doesn't. It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel right to me. Yeah, it doesn't feel like.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's well, you know what? It seems like the Jedi Knights. It's a respectable kind of time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so anti-Jedi now.
Oh, you are.
Oh, I want the evil to always win when it comes to. Can't stand the
Don't
Jedi.
like anything. Oh, yeah. Not like
I also pull for the bad guys in Karate Kid, so I think I like the villains in movies. I'm a Scar.
Darth is great, man.
I'm a Scar fan. I think Scar was awesome in Lion King.
A lot of people do, yeah.
Scar's awesome.
I get
He's
you.
a great villain.
Yeah, no, you got to have a great villain to have a great.
To.
Yeah,
you got to have a good
villain. Great villain. Absolutely. All right, well, Virginia will be back tomorrow. Be interesting to see. Does she get a good night of sleep, or is she going to roll in on just 3? I think she's going to be with it tomorrow. We'll see. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, people are curious. They're going, and it's weird how Virginia was quiet about this trip. She's saying it's a family thing, but it's also a work thing.
Like I said, I'll give you my thoughts here in a second. So,
off the mic.
Off the mic.
Got yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Off the mic.
I wonder if it's the same thing I'm thinking.
Okay. All right. Y'all have a great Monday. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.